Hi, and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, as a small introduction, I will be going through the full GCSE 91 syllabus for Edexcel Maths Higher. If you're doing the foundation, you can also use these videos as well, but just make sure that you are using the correct videos for your content. So later in the videos, when I get to the higher content, I will put a specific mark in bracket. I will write higher, so it's much easier for you to differentiate between the content that the foundation should do and the content that the highest should do. Okay, so in this video, we're going to be continuing with the same topic as last time. So we're still in topic 1, so that's calculations. So this is video 1.2, basic operations. So what are the basic operations? Well, the first question you should ask is, what is an operation? An operation in math is just something that you do to a number. So for example, if you're adding, subtracting, multiplying, and stuff like that, it's just something that it's something that you do to a number. So I'm not sure if you've seen these operation functions in your earlier years where where it's demonstrated as in like a box or something, where one number goes in one side and a different number comes on the other side. So that's basically what an operation is. So you do something that changes a number. Okay, so there are 4 basic operations that you need to think of, well, know of actually. So these 4 are: first, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So these are not all of the operations, but there are more. But these are the basic ones that you need to know. So these are pretty much the building blocks of maths. Without them, you wouldn't have no maths. So these are very important and you need to know how to use them extremely well. So when I say these are the building blocks of maths, most people say building blocks of maths is numbers, but without these operations, there's no point in having numbers because you can't do anything with them. Okay, so let's start from the first one, that is addition. Okay, so in addition, this is the addition sign. So this is the mathematical sign of addition. So what is addition? So addition is basically you're combining 2 numbers together to make one number. For example, you have X sweets and your friend gives you Y number of sweets. At the end, you would have Z sweets in total. In here. So usually when you're doing a question, this is what the form looks like. This is not exactly the method, but this is what the form should look like. Okay, so X plus Y equals Z. I mean, yes, in this one it says X plus Y equals Z. I mean, it doesn't have to be limited to 2 numbers, or you're adding 2 numbers. It can be limited. There's no actual limit to how many numbers you can add at once. You can add as many numbers as you can. So we're going to do this through a method called the column method. Okay, so let's move on to an example. So example 1, addition. So we're going to do 23 plus 14. So that's 23 plus 14. To start off with, you need to keep in mind the position of the numbers. What I mean by the position is the column, if it's a units or in tens. So first of all, I'm going to define this. So 23 is the first number and 14 is the second number. Usually when you're doing addition using column method or any other column method, usually the first number you put is the top number on top and second number is the number on bottom. But there's one case I'll show that to you in the next example. So we write 23 up on top here, and then that's the first number, and then we write 14 down at the bottom, and then we write the plus sign, and then we draw a line underneath it. The line represents that, so everything on top of the line is the part of the question, everything underneath the line is part of the answer. So that's kind of how you differentiate it. So notice how I wrote these two numbers in specific, like on column, on top of each other, right on top of each other. So if we draw these columns here, so this column and this column and here, as you can see on the right hand side, this is the unit column. On the left hand side, it's the tens column. The units must be on top in the units column and tens must be on the tens column. So this is where most people get it wrong. So most people, what they do is they would say, well, 23, and then they would write it awkwardly. And so, for example, instead of writing 2 and 3, and then 1 and 4, they'll write 2, 3, and then put the 4 over here, and then put the 1 over here. That would be very wrong because then this order is messed with. So to start off with, we're going to start from the units column. So from the units column, you do 3 plus 4. So 3 plus 4 is 7. So you write 7 right underneath the 3 and 4. And then you move on to the tens column. So in tens column is 2 and 1. So 2 plus 1 is 3. Okay. So the answer is 37. Once you got the answer, I usually do is put 2 lines underneath the answer. Some people like to draw a box. I prefer to write the 2 lines in the answer because it's much neater. Okay, let's move on to example 2. So this is 56 plus 68. Now in this example, you can pause the video now and have a go at yourself. So yeah, if you are not going to do that, let's work together. Or if you've done it, and let's check it together. Okay, so let's look at this again. So first number is 56, second number is 68. Okay, so this is the case where I told earlier. So in addition, 56 plus 68 is the same as 68 plus 56 because addition is something called commutative, as I remember correctly. It can be added, so you can add it either way. So 56 plus 68 and 68 plus 56, they both have the same thing. But if one of them were a minus sign, say for example minus 56 plus 68, that would not equal to 68 minus 56. That will be completely different, and I will show you that in a later example. So usually what I tend to do is when doing the column method, I tend to write the bigger number on top and the smaller number on the bottom. So this is only in addition, because in addition we have this rule here. This is kind of a rule because it's true for all additions, except if it has any minuses or anything. So this is true for all additions. So I tend to write it like this. So write the 68 on top and write the 56 on bottom, and then draw the plus signs and everything. So why I like to write the bigger number on top is because it gives a nice shape to the addition column method. This is how I was brought up in doing it, so this is how I stick with. I prefer to do this, but you can do it the other way around as well. This is completely fine. So we're going to draw the columns again, the units, tens, and hundreds. In the hundreds, there is no actual values there. I just put the zeros because this value is going to be more than 100. It's going to be easier. So first of all, you're going to start off with the units column, and then you're going to do is add the 8 plus 6. So 8 plus 6 is 14. Now what you're going to do is you're going to put the 4 here, and then you're going to put 1 on the side. Okay, so 1, it's called the carrier. So you're going to carry 1 over to the 10 side. Now what you're going to do is you're going to do 6 plus 5, that's 11, plus another one, so that's this one here. So 6 plus 5 is 11, and plus another one is 12. You're going to put the 2 here, and then you're going to, because on the hundreds column it's 0 and 0, there's nothing there, so you can just bring the 1 over here. So the answer for 56 plus 68 is 124. Okay, now moving on to the subtraction. So in the subtraction, So what is subtraction? Well, subtraction, sorry. So first of all, the sign for subtraction is this little dash kind of thing, or hyphen. So yeah, this is the mathematical symbol for subtraction. The subtraction is when you remove a number from its initial value. So for example, if you have X number of sweets and then you eat Y number of sweets, so you're left with Z number of sweets. So as before, X and Y represent the same random numbers, and X is bigger than Y, otherwise the total will be negative, which in this case would not be possible because you can't have negative number of sweets. So that's the same as before. We're going to use the column method. Okay, so let's look at an example. So example 3, subtraction. So we're going to do 24 minus 11. So same as before, but the only difference is this time you must always put the first number on top and the second number on bottom. I'll show you why in later. So this is second number, 11 is second number, so you write the 24 on top and you write the 11 on bottom, and then you put the minus sign and then you put the bottom kind of equal line. So now what you do is draw the, well, you didn't have to draw the units and tens column. I drew the units and tens columns to make it easy for you to understand and see. So now what you do is you start from the units column and then you do 4 minus 1. 4 minus 1 is 3. And then you move over to the tens column, and then 2 minus 1 is 13. So this is what you do. So here, as I wrote here, if 24 minus 11 is not equal to 11 minus 24, because 24 minus 11 is 13, while 11 minus 24 is minus 13. And 13 is not equal to minus 13. So this is why you cannot use subtraction as same as before. So you can't change it or flip the numbers around. You can no, you can't do that. It's basically because you can't do that because if you were to move one number from the other side, then you must have the minus sign in front. You can't flip the numbers without changing the minus sign. So that would be wrong. So let's look at another example. Example 4. In this example, 125 is the first number and 98 is the second number. So write 125 on top, 98 on bottom, draw the minus sign, draw the equal separating line, and here I have drawn the units, tens and hundreds column. Now what you do is you start from the units. And because 5 is smaller than 8, what you do is you need to carry 1. You need to borrow 1 from the 2 next side. So when you borrow 1 from 2, so 1 minus 2 becomes 1. So that's why I have written, so there's only 1 left over in this side. And you bring 1 to here. So now this becomes 15 because you borrowed from the tens column. So this becomes 15. So 15 minus 8, that's 7. Now what you do is you move on to the tens column. So in the tens column, now you have 1 minus 9. This cannot be done because 9 is much bigger than 1. So you need to borrow 1 from the hundreds column. So you cross out this one, put a 0 here because there's nothing left, and you bring 1 over here. So when you bring 1 over here, this becomes 11. And now it's 11 minus 9, which is 2. So this is 27. Okay, let's move on to multiplication. So multiplication. So this is the sign for multiplication. So it's basically a cross like this. So when multiplying, this is a sign, and this star is used when you're typing multiplication. So for example, in a computer, you would usually use the star to represent a multiplication sign. So multiplication is when you take a number and you add it together a certain number of times. That's basically multiplication. So in here, if you're not understanding this, then here's an example, a small example. So this is the field. Say for example, you're running around the field, and the distance around the field is 100 meters. So you're running, I don't know if it's 100 meters, but you're running from here to here, here to here, here to here, here to here. So that would be one lap. So go round once, and second lap, third lap, fourth lap. So start from here and go around like that. So the field, so the distance around the field is 100 meters. Now say, so you're running laps around this field. So let's think that around the whole field is a distance of 100 meters, and you run 5 laps. So this would mean the total distance is 100 plus 100 plus 100 plus 100 plus 100. So you run 5 laps, so you run 100 and you do it for 5 laps. So this is the same as writing 100 multiplied by 5, which is 500. As you can see, it's the same number. Multiplication is basically a simplified version of addition, but it's for the same number. So this is also done through the column method, but this is slightly different column method. Okay, let me show you. So here's example 5, multiplication. So in here I have wrote the answer straight away because it's much easier to see. And you're going to do 15 multiplied by 9. So 15 plus number and 9 is the second number. The same as before, what you're going to do is write 15 on top, 9 at the bottom, put the multiplication across sign, and you put the what's it called, the equal line underneath. And now what you do is you do 9 multiplied by 5. So what you need to do is you need to follow this arrow, the green arrow. So 9 multiplied by 5, which is 45. So you put the 5 underneath the 9 and then you carry the 4 over. And then what you do is you do 9 times 1, which is, if you know, 9 times 1 is 9. And then 9 plus 4, that's 13. So what you now do is you put the 3 here and you carry the 1 over. Remember, each time you're using the carried ones, not the ones, but the carryover values, you need to cross them so you don't get confused with the ones you haven't used. And now what you do is you do, because it's only 15 and the hundreds column is a 0, so you can put the 0, you can just carry the 1 over. So I put the 0 to show as a complete example. I put the 0 there, and then 9 times 0 is 0, you plus 1, so it gives you 135. Now let's look at another example. Example 6. Now what you do is, same as before, 32 on top, 18 on bottom. Now what you do is, so this is the column separated down, so unit, tens and hundreds. So 8 times 2 is 16. You put the 6 underneath the 8 and you carry 1 over. 3 times 8. So that's 24. So you put the 24, and then you have a 1, remember? So you add the 1, so it becomes 25. You put the 5 underneath there, and so 5 is underneath the 1 here because it's in the tens column, and you carry 2 over because it's 25. Now what you need to do is, because it's 0 in the hundreds column, so you multiply 8 by 0, that's 0, and now you use the 2. The 2 goes down here. Now what you need to do is, because you're going to move on to the second number. The second number is the 1 in the tens column. So in here, what you're going to do is you're going to put a 0 in here because you're going to be multiplying from the tens column. So you do 1 times 2, okay, that's 2, and then 1 times 3, that's 3. Now what you're going to do is you're going to draw another line underneath here, and you're going to put the plus sign over here. So when you do the plus sign, this is just going to be the same as normal addition that we looked at earlier. so you can easily do it. So this is 6, 5 plus 2 is 7, 2 plus 3 is 5. So the answer is 576. So this is example 7. This is for just to get more practice. You can pause the video and have a go at yourself as well. So let's go through this. So I'm going to draw the lines first. So 115 and 26. Put the cross sign, put the equal sign. Okay. Now we're going to do 6 times 5 is 30. Put the 0 underneath the 6. Bring the 3 on the side. Then you're going to do 6 times 1, which is 18. No, sorry. 6 times 1 is 6. So 6 plus 3 is 9. You've used all the 3, so you put the 9 here. There's nothing for you to carry over. 6 times 1, that's 6. Put the 6 here. Now what you need to do is you're going to move on to the tens column. So when you're moving on to the tens column, remember you need to put the 0 here. Okay? So now you do 2 times 5, which is 10. You put the 0 here, 1 here. Now what you need to do is 2 times 1, which is 2, plus 1, which is 3. And you cross out this one because there's nothing to carry out anymore. And then you do 2 times 1, which is 2. Now draw the line underneath, then you do the plus sign, and then you just add it as it is. So 0 plus 0 is 0, 9 plus 0 is 9, 6 plus 3 is 9, well, 0 plus 2 is 2. Okay, so this is the answer. Division. So this is the division symbol, mathematical symbol for division. So here it is. So when typing, or sometimes some people write division as this. So I'll show you how it's done. So what is division? Division is how many numbers go into that initial number. So for example, say that you have a big box, okay? And you need to see how many small boxes fit into that big box. So when you're seeing how many small boxes fit into that big box, you're basically doing it dividing. So we're going to do this through something called the bus stop method. So the bus stop method is a little different, but pretty simple once you get the hang of it. Okay, so example 8 division. We're going to do 24 divided by 5. So this is the first number, the second number. So to draw the bus stop method, what you need to do is you need to draw the 24, that's the first number, and you're going to do this. This is usually called the bus stop. That's why people say it looks like a bus stop. That's why they call it a bus stop method. So 24 inside this half square kind of thing. Well, a half rectangle kind of thing. And now you write 5 outside of it. You're going to first start off by looking to see how many 5s go into 2. Well, there's 0 5s goes into 2. So what you're going to do is, because there's no 5s actually going into 2, you're going to bring the 2 down and you're going to bring the 4 down. So when you bring the 4 down, it becomes 24. So this is a little different because, but in another example, it will be much clearer. So 24 down and see how many 5s goes into 24. Well, I know for a fact that 5 times 4 is 20. So therefore, 4 lots of 5 goes into 20. So draw the 4 there, and you're going to do is you're going to subtract 20 from 24. So you're going to be left off with 4. Now what you're going to do is you're going to put the decimal place there, and you're going to put a 0 after it. And you're going to bring the 0 down into this 4 here. Now this becomes 40. Now what you're going to do is you're going to look to see how many 5s go into 40 down here, okay? So I know for a fact that 5 times 8 equals 40. So you put the 8 here, and then you do minus 40, and then you do the subtraction, and then it's equal to 0. When it's equal to 0 at the bottom, we know this division is complete because there's nothing you can do anymore. Otherwise, it'll just be 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, and so on and so forth. And you don't need that many zeros in that. So from the 0, you know it's complete. So example 9, this is division. So let's try this. So this is, like I told you before, this is another way of writing the same division sign. The 364, 346 divided by 3. What you're going to do is the first number and the second number. So same as before, 346 here. And then for the easy part of it, I'm going to just do put the decimal place and put 2 zeros at the end because I find it always really easy to do that. So you put this is the second number, this is the first number, okay? Now what you're going to do is you're going to see how many 3's go into this first 3. Well, as you can see, 1 3 goes into this 3. So 3 times 1 is 3. So you can do minus 3 here. You put the equal sign. 3 minus 3 is 0. You put the 0 here. Now what you're going to do is you're going to bring this 4 down here. Now this becomes 4 because 0 and 4 is just 4. Now you're going to see how many 3's go into 4. As you can see, it's still 1. So 3 times 1 is 3. So you might put minus 3 in here, and then so this minus 3 comes because we need to see what the remainder of these values are. That's where this minus comes from. So we put the minus here, so minus 3, and then you do the subtraction. So 4 minus 3 is 1. Now what you're going to do is you're going to do the same thing. You're going to bring the 6 down. So 6 comes down, so it becomes 16. You're going to see how many 3's fit into 16. Well, I know that for a fact 3 times 5 is 15. So you're going to put the 5 up there, and then minus 15 down at bottom, and then it's just going to be remainder 1. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to bring down the 0. Okay. Now this value becomes 10. Now we're going to see how many 3's fit into 10. Well, I know that 3 times 3 is 9. So we're going to do subtract 9 from 10. This is going to give us 1. So if we keep doing this, we're just going to end up with 115.3333. So I'm not going to draw the others, but this is the general process. So in summary, well, so hopefully you understood what this process is and how it's done. So hopefully you can have a go at your own time and then ask your teachers if this is good or if this is not good. And personally, this is the method that I use and I found it very helpful. So in summary, so in this video you have learned what are the basic operations, the meaning of each basic operation, their symbols, and how to use them. So later down in my playlist, GCSE 91 full course content, I will show some shortcut methods, so stay on the lookout for them. So as a leaving note, so in this video I showed you these 4 things, these 4 methods. These are the best methods you can actually use because most of the time I've seen many students, they start using some random methods like the box method or something, and then they just get really confused by it. This is just a simple method that is a little hard sometimes to get the hang of, but once you do too much questions, not too much, but do a certain number of questions, then you start to get the hang of it, and it's much easier and much better. Okay, so thank you for listening. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please like the video and subscribe. So also let others know the channel. And please leave a comment down below on what's good about this video or any improvements, or if you want any other tips on what to do and how to do in GCSE Maths. So if this is your first time here, make sure to check out my playlist, the GCSE 91 full course content. I'm still in the process of making it, so it's not all done yet. So please stay tuned for it. Well, thank you very much and have a good rest of the day. Thank you. Bye. Next time.